Welcome back to Appalachian Dim Sum,
where our entertainment is our comfort food.
And this is episode 23, Appetizers.
I'll take your word for it.
Yep. We've had, over the past few months, we've been switching up kind of how we're organizing these episodes. Because at first, as you know, we were thinking, we'll do it once a month.
Yeah.
But we talk so much, we decided to start splitting it up. So it's about once a week now is what we're aiming for.
Yes. Yeah.
And that really kind of geared it toward just being individual episodes.
Yes.
And I was trying to keep up with like what month we were in. And we'll just go with episodes for now.
I don't normally know what day of the week it is, so when you say we, I think you do most of the organizing. Credit due there, but
I do think.
That being said, I'd never have any idea which episode this is. Or
right, was it episode 23?
Much less what day it is.
But I do think at some point maybe we can like start giving them titles, because right now it's just going to be episode 23 Appetizers, episode 24 main course.
Yeah, we should probably make it more directed so people actually know what it is we're talking about if they just jump into it randomly.
Right, especially with the main course and probably the coffee service, because like this main course is going to be Event Horizon. So we should probably be Appalachian Dim Sum, episode 24, Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And like our 24, so episode 26, 26 is going to be Lovecraftian media.
Yeah.
But our appetizers and our desserts are just, we talk about so many things.
Yeah.
Like in this one, we're going to be talking about Heavy Metal Magazine, we're talking about here in just a second. Some Godzilla, some DC stuff. Like there's not a connective tissue except, hey, this is some stuff we saw.
If we enjoy it, then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Or even if we watch it and don't enjoy it, we can. And try not to do too much of the, wow, that sucked.
Right.
That seems stupid to me, to go out and spend your money and your time hate doing things that you hate. So I try to identify those and don't go down those roads, and try to actually just pursue the things that I do like. But
yeah, and that's kind of what the spirit of Appalachian Dim Sum is. It's our comfort food. It's not the stuff that makes us feel ill.
Yeah.
So it's stuff that we enjoy, not the stuff that we dislike.
There's a whole
nother side of the internet if you want that.
Wave of people that just go watch something just so they can come back and be like, well, that was stupid and woke and blah, blah, blah. It's like, then don't watch it. That's how you make that stop. Is you stop paying attention to it.
Now, that being said, there is one film that I'm going to talk about in a couple episodes that I have some words for. But
I'm completely fine with, I go to something hoping it'll be good, and it turns out to be just a big old ball of poop, to be like, well, that sucked.
That sucked, yeah. But so this episode, like I said, appetizers. Let's start off.
In general, our appetizer is always what we've been doing.
Right, for this past month.
And that's playing, reading, watching, even attending.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes with me, I'm wandering all over the country doing different shows, and sometimes I see something interesting. A lot of it's the same.
I went on a rant because I went to a game store and I got mad about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, one of the things I've gotten back into this month, or gotten into for the first time really, is Heavy Metal Magazine. I'm going to show the image.
Don't think I knew. I think I knew it was based on some sort of comic type thing, because I've seen the movies. Was it Heavy Metal 2000?
Yeah, Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, but I never explored it beyond that.
Now, because it was animated, my parents were okay with me watching like the heavy metal. Like
I think I had been told enough of it when I rented it when I was whatever age, teenager.
Yeah, you were a teen.
That I knew I had to watch it when they weren't around.
Well, when I saw like that, when I saw Heavy Metal and like Fire and Ice, did you ever see Fire and Ice? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When I saw those, I was like 10. So it was probably before I should have seen them. But it was something like my dad brought home some movies that he borrowed from some guy, and I just watched them. I was like, these are great.
It's not exactly related. Did you ever watch that animated Lord of the Rings?
Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful animation.
I saw that when I was very young, and that I'll go back and watch it now. I'm like, I can't believe how much that terrified me. But I was
Right.
I was young when I saw that thing the first time, and I actually have some vague memories of I had a bedroom at the top of the steps where you could see where the steps came up. Of sitting there in my bed waiting for those things to come up the steps for like several nights in a row. I was like, wow, I probably shouldn't have watched that. But,
But the magazine itself, I was a bit young to like even access it
yeah,
at the time.
well, back then they probably wouldn't have
Right.
let you buy that.
Right. I was
Was it like
reading Archie Ninja Turtles at the time.
Walden
So
books and places like that were still in the mall?
yeah, yeah.
I tried to buy like an adult joke book from there, and they were like, "No,
No.
you can't have that."
But this is episode. This is issue 1, and issue 1 and 2 are out, and they've restarted heavy metal,
Oh,
and I think a part of it is indicative of culture shifts.
yeah.
Like it's okay for this to be back at this point.
People are tired of being told you can't do that because
Right.
blah 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 reasons.
And I'm just I got back into it because of that book I told you, The Keeper of the Master.
Yeah,
That I pulled this one book out after 20 years. I thought to myself, I'd like to read that again, and I realized, wait, this is a part of a series, and it's like book 3, and I got into it, realized looking into that, hey, this is heavy metal. I didn't realize it was heavy metal. Lo and behold, they've restarted the magazine like right around the time I was looking at Keeper of the Master. So it was kind of serendipity.
Some things are just meant to be.
Yeah, and I just the thing about Heavy Metal magazine is it's pulp, but really you read it for the art. I mean, absolutely beautiful art in this magazine.
I backed into, I guess, the Frank Miller Sin City stuff that way. I think
Oof.
it was getting promoted because there had been movies, and again, just where I grew up and how much I paid attention to stuff at that time. I don't know that I honestly even knew there was a movie out. But
Also, you were into Sin City before
I went
the film.
into a comic book store, and there were all these like novels, mini novels of it there, and I just picked one up and kind of looked, and it was like, this is like some kind of like weird crime drama. It was like, this looks cool. I took it home and did that, and I think there might have even been some ads or something inside the cover. I can't remember how, but that led me to realizing that they'd just done a movie on it, and there was a whole series of them and all that, and it was the same thing. I love the artwork of that. They were kind of cool stories, but it's just like the animated Matrix stuff that they did when those movies came out. The going into the different art styles and the different ways of telling stories is something I love in any kind of media. You know, whether it's a medieval thing, a futuristic Matrix type thing, or whatever crime drama, Sin City, however you classify that. I love stuff like that.
See, I came to Sin City. I came to Sin City.
I came to SimCity on a Macintosh Color Classic.
That's right. I came to Sin City, kind of in two ways. Back when I was younger, I remember seeing Sin City in like a D&D store, and thinking, oh, it says sin. Ooh, that's bad. And at the time, I don't think I was old enough to appreciate the art, because I remember looking at it and being like, man, it's boring.
Yeah, it's all black and white. Right.
And then the film came out, and I was a young man when the film came out, and it tickled my whatever that was supposed to tickle. I related to that film. Marv is a beautifully made character.
Oh, yeah.
Rourke did a fantastic job with it. And because of that, I sought out the comics again.
This is completely being Southwestern Virginia and cheap, and also coming to things way later than everybody else does. Is that what actually drew my attention to them is they were little mini books, and I was like, I could spend $6 and get an actual 3 times as much to read as paying $4 for the comic book that I was getting ready to buy.
Yeah, the first time I bought them, they were in book form.
I was kind of looking at more like I get more for my money if I buy this instead of that.
I've definitely gotten to the point to where there are certain comics I'll buy per issue. Like I've subscribed to it through the local comic shop.
Yeah.
But man, really? The way to buy comics anymore is wait for the trades.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, unlike manga, where like the manga industry is almost more like heavy metal, where they have magazines that have a bunch of the smaller issues of comics or manga inside the magazines, like Shojin Jump or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they'll take those after they, a few months, they'll take those and they'll make a little book out of it,
Yeah.
out of the particular each story. It's not, as far as I understand, it's not like here in the States where you'll have an issue of a comic and that's the only thing that's in that comic is that one story. Like Heavy Metal is just like it's a magazine, sure, but it's really a collection of comics.
Yeah, but it's also probably a way to kind of put some feelers out. And I think that's the way the Shoujin Jump kind of works. To be people really
What's popular?
responded to this one. They were kind of meh about that one, so maybe let's do more of this kind of thing.
Oh, I'm sure. I assume that not every story in the Shoujin Jump. I'm saying that wrong. Becomes independent, separate manga by itself.
Sure. There's a magazine thing that we ordered. We got it through one of our distributors. It's in Japan called like Koro Koro.
Okay.
And it was all these ads and things for all these different. I mean, there was Pokemon stuff and there was like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, but there were little mini comics and stuff in there too. It was all in Japanese. I had no idea what half of it was, but it really seemed like it was here's a sample of everything that's being thrown out there. Like it really was sort of a, let's put this out and see what people respond to and develop things from there. And it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
It seems like more companies here could do that instead of just starting something and it either just crashing and burning or.
Well, I've thought many times, well, I'm going to wait for the trade for with an American comic, but if everybody waits for the trade, the comic's not going to be popular enough to warrant a trade.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm generally, unless I really, really love the comic, I'm not going to buy these single issues and then the trade.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's a waste of money.
That's how I did The Walking Dead. I waited them to come out in compendiums. And
yeah.
As they came out slower, that became very painful to wait for because it was like, come on. It's like, I know you're almost at 50 issues. It's like, issue the dang thing so I can read it.
Well, is Walking Dead still coming out?
I have no idea. I have the third one and have not even gone through and read it.
Oh, okay. Let's ask Google that.
I was getting into that whole, just getting saturated with it. And then they started all the stuff on AMC Plus. We had AMC Plus and it was like, this is getting too much. And so much of what they were just throwing out on AMC Plus, I've talked about that before, was just really with no direction and kind of poorly written and just produced by people you could tell didn't have experience doing stuff. And it really kind of numbed my interest in the whole thing, but I'd still like to go back and just read through everything again. It's just on my list of things to do.
But that list is long. It's very long. I'm not going to talk about Dune Awakening during this, except for what I'm going to say right now. But I've said recently that Dune Awakening is very disrespectful to my backlog.
Oh,
I'm not getting to anything.
Oh, the video game.
Yeah, the video game.
Yeah,
because I'm the type of person where I usually
ones where you check your log and there's going to be like a number that wraps around right. How many hours.
But usually I'm playing 2 or 3 games at a time. But nope.
Yeah.
I started my PC and I'm like, what to play? Dune Awakening.
Yeah.
But Walking Dead comics are not currently being published. It ended in 2019 after 193 issues.
Okay.
And the first link is from Game Rant, and it says Walking Dead creator subtly hints at continuation of the series. That was back in February. So there may be more.
Yeah.
But for now,
it blows
it's not.
my mind that they're still they're getting ready to produce release another series of Daryl in France or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's still people tuning in to watch it, obviously, or they wouldn't even still be doing that. So some people's fandom goes a little further than mine does, I guess.
I like monsters to be monstrous, and to me, we're the real monsters isn't a compelling narrative. Mostly,
they've never developed anything in the show. You got to where it was becoming like hordes, and it grew into something that was super destructive and menacing. But then, ever since then, it's always just been bad people and bad people and bad people, and I know the 20 years later was flawed, but the fact that they actually took things to here's the next progression of how this would go.
Yeah, you had what did they call it? The alpha? Is that what they called it? Like the alpha zombie?
Yeah, the alpha, and they had the fat crawlers.
Yeah.
They introduced things to show that we were actually thinking what might actually happen instead of, hey, here's a bad guy, but this time he'll be bald.
I actually really liked in the show the point where like the 1 episode or 2 episodes where you thought maybe they were starting to talk to each other, and ended up being the Whisperers.
Yeah,
I liked that idea. Like the idea that zombies maybe regain some of their humanity, but are still zombies.
They came back to something late, and they still never did anything with it, where they were like climbing things and opening doors.
Okay.
But then the show ended. And it was like, well, and maybe there's stuff that's continued beyond that with Carol and Daryl and the stuff in New York. So maybe they've expanded on some of it. But
like this is horrific. This just came to me, but this is horrific. But like a zombie story where you found out that zombies are explicitly keeping pregnant women alive because they understand it's going to have a baby, and that's tasty. You know, that kind of stuff. Like give the zombies a little bit of, have them develop some.
I think the 30-year-old ladies that are producing shows on AMC are probably not going to go
go to that.
Those are more Shudder level horror movies, I think.
Yeah, that'd be pretty horrific. Do you want to talk about our food?
Yeah, we're in the appetizer section. So
yeah,
we've already had our appetizer.
Yep, we ate it before this, and I told you about this a little bit. I had an idea, something like themed dish that I was going to try out.
And our theme was building towards our main course is going to be Event Horizon.
Right.
And we were kind of both doing some looking about things that are related to the devil and hell. I think the only thing I could come up with were things that look like eyeballs and then devil food, cake and cookies. And I still haven't really had a chance to explore that. So
I've discussed with you what our main course food is, and you guys will find out the next episode. I'm excited about it. I did get everything in.
Okay.
So we're good.
But what was the one that didn't turn out?
Well, I'm not going to tell you about it because I'm still going to try it.
Oh.
I'm like, I believe I can do it.
Because I know
but it did not work.
We were tossing around things like deviled ham, deviled eggs.
I still that wasn't what I was doing, but I still think double deviled eggs sounds awesome.
Gotcha.
We might do that at some point.
But
yeah, like
we got a little compressed on time, so yeah. Today we did scones.
Did scones.
Scones from hell.
They were pretty good. We had like, it was I thought it was going to be strawberry white chocolate, but apparently I picked the wrong one up and it was blueberry. That was interesting, I guess. And like a brown sugar and cinnamon. That was good. It was from a local spot.
Local here out in Daleville by the
called Little Green Hive.
By the tap house and all the stuff in the little town center out there.
I'll definitely go back.
Or by the time it's making its first 15-minute city.
Yeah.
Or 5-minute city or whatever you call them. Or I guess everybody can just live in their little hole and walk to everything. So more power to them, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'll go eat their food if it's good.
Go to the tap house, yeah.
If I'm allowed in from the outer territories.
That's where it might inevitably go, is that they start having like a gate in front and ID cards and stuff.
That'd be excellent as long as they couldn't leave.
Just keep them in there.
Yes.
But I enjoyed it making scones. What are you going to do? They were very soft. Sometimes scones are really hard, but these were like fresh baked.
When you said scones, I was like, wow, I hope they're not like the things from Starbucks that they made 3 months ago. Right. Now they're just, you have to like soak them in coffee for 3 hours so you can eat them.
Have you ever had biscotti?
Yeah. Okay. I have to think what's what.
So I used to work at like a little coffee shop and we would sell biscottis and I would eat them. And I'm like, I don't know why people like these things so much. I didn't know you're supposed to dip them in coffee.
It's kind of like a flavorless croissant.
Kind of. Yeah. The mass-produced ones usually have like a strip of chocolate or something on the top.
Yeah. Like unsweetened dark chocolate. So
yeah. It's just like a dry biscuit.
No flavor in it at all.
And I mean, I love biscottis now because after eating them for like a year, I saw someone dip one. And I was like, oh, let me try that. I don't know why I didn't think about doing that. It just...
The Southwest Virginia way is that you go to the grocery store and you get the donuts from Krispy Kreme that are on clearance that are maybe soft enough to have for a day. And you let them sit for 3 more days to where they get hard. And then you can dip them in coffee.
There you go.
And you get your donuts for like 1/8 the price.
We almost got Dunkin' Donuts today. Almost.
Yeah.
No, you probably wouldn't have complained there.
No. It's pretty fancy living there.
That's right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a movie you insisted I see.
Yeah.
And so I came over.
Just for reference, our last 2 episodes we're talking about
Stephen King,
Shawshank Redemption and then The Green Mile, which are both Stephen King properties that were kind of enhanced by Frank Darabont. Mm-hmm. And this was not part of the trilogy, but definitely the 3 movies that they worked on pretty close together. involved a lot of the same actors in them.
And you sort of consider The Mist to finish out the Stephen King, Frank Darabont trilogy, right? Darabont
Yeah,
trilogy.
because he got in. He basically after that started with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Got into a controversy with them, got fired, and then I think basically spent the next decade in a lawsuit with them, and he ended up getting like $200 million plus lawsuit.
I wouldn't be doing anything either.
But yeah, I don't know that he was allowed, or maybe not even allowed to do things. I don't know that he had time to do anything. I think he was kind of consumed with that, and I think we saw that he's involved in the newer season of Stranger Things, and that's like the first thing he's been involved with for like almost 10 years or something. But
do you know if has he written anything?
I don't know that I don't know the answer to that, if he's ever done anything exclusively his, or if he's always been more of a screenwriter. And I know he sought out the Stephen King stuff because he was a fan of Stephen King, and he actually, I think on the Shawshank Redemption, had gone to him to get the rights to it not very long after he published the whatever the book was that those were in. I forget, was it 4 seasons?
4 seasons, right.
4 seasons. I think that came out, I don't remember the years, like 82 or something. And he got like the rights to it like two or 3 years later, mid 80s, and it didn't get the first movie made until whenever Shawshank came out. Was that mid 90s, 95, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. I'm on the IMDb here. I think it was early 94.
Yeah.
All right, so looking at his IMDb page, I know we did this before and we probably talked about it, but yeah, he did a lot of Stephen King stuff. Like Mob City, it says written by creator, so I think that might be an original of his.
He did, yeah.
But like some of the other stuff, Young Indiana Jones, okay, so that's based on Indiana Jones. Nightmare on Elm Street.
If you could think of
that's in a series,
the dream career to have in like Hollywood, to be able to like kind of take people's properties that are 75% good and just make them better.
Night Shift Collection.
Awesome job.
Is that a Stephen King thing?
Yeah, Night Shift was the one with the
rat, right?
The rat.
The rat bat. The bat rat. I don't know if this is yes, Stephen King's Night Shift Collection. Okay. So he's just a fan of King. Okay. Anyway, my thought was that there are some directors, like there are some writers that are great writers, there are some directors that are great directors. Some directors, specifically I'm thinking Zack Snyder, I am a fan of his work, but man, I prefer him to make a movie that someone else wrote.
Yeah.
I don't think his stories are the tightest stories. I think he's better off adapting someone else's.
Frank knows how to put it to film and make it work within a time frame, I guess, of a standard movie, and get enough story there for it to make sense and be cohesive and not be so contrived. Everything that happens, that you spend half the movie going to this side of the universe to get this thing, so you can come back to this other side of the universe and get into the door that thing lets you into. All that kind of nonsense that he actually builds the stories. And how much easier would that be to do if somebody already gave you the outline in short story form, and you're just like, well, all I have to do is kind of fill in some gaps and make a better ending.
And hindsight is 2020. When you
gave me Frank Darabont's role for 28 years later, I could have turned that into an epic movie instead of a little bit of a messy film that it was.
Yeah. But yeah, once something's produced and finished and done, it's easy to kind of say, well, they should have done this, they should have done this. Yeah. Then it is to think of those things while producing.
Yeah.
Mob City came out in 2013, so it's old, but it is a 6-episode series with John Bernthal in it.
Okay.
I mean, that to me, that's enough of a reason to watch it.
2013.
2013.
So that was after he's already working with him on Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So.
It says 3-week event series from The Walking Dead's Frank Darabont.
When you start making good stuff, people want you to make everything else. So,
so anyway, that's that might be something we need to look into.
Yeah. Okay, but back to the Mist.
Back to the Mist.
Yeah, it blows my mind that you'd gone this long and never seen it or had it spoiled for you, which is the harder thing to avoid at this point.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching the movie with somebody that hadn't seen it before, so I could watch you try to work your way through it and kind of guess oh, they're getting ready to do this, or oh, this is
Yeah.
going to happen, and then like being right a couple times, and then being like kind of thrown off
Completely
a couple
wrong.
of them.
Yeah, I totally thought like it was like the mist was a mutagen or something, and it was making like squids that were walking on land or something.
Yeah,
So definitely it was definitely a fun film. The reason I hadn't seen it is simply because the premise sounded boring to me.
yeah.
Oh, so they're stuck in I thought it was like a Walmart or something, but like it was a grocery store. Oh, they're sort of stuck in a grocery store and the mist hurts you. Ooh.
But
It didn't appeal.
kind of gets back into that larger Stephen King universe.
Yeah.
Where I guess you haven't read all the way through it, so I don't want to get into spoiling some of that too. But the part of the whole premise behind the Dark Tower is there's just like this, the universe is held together, and if it falls apart, you fall in the darkness where there's just monsters and hideous beasts and things that are just total hell on incarnate and destruction. And this was basically the government kind of messed around to see into one of these dimensions and open the door and couldn't figure out how to close it, and they came through. And you start off with like some little tentacles that you don't know what they're attached to, followed up by giant scorpion, beetle, moth things, whatever they are, with like
locusts,
with like faces that have like human teeth, which I always thought was the coolest part of that.
See, at that point, I was thinking maybe they were doing something with like the Book of Revelation, not only because they had the one character who was like
Miss Carmody,
who was thinking she was a prophet or something,
yeah.
Because like in the Book of Revelation, they described the locusts as having scorpion tails and human faces.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
that's
Revelation.
And you come back to what pterodactyl things.
Yeah, I don't. That's beyond that. Then
that came from when you talk about Stephen King and how he came up with the idea. He was in the grocery store. This is his version of it, and he just had this random thought, which again probably was him in the middle of some sort of drug trip. Is what if like pterodactyls like broke in the windows and started attacking everybody?
Pterodactyls, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sure.
Drugs are bad, kids.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs. But it might turn into a lucrative writing career.
I'll say that don't do drugs, but Stephen King seems to have done all right.
You can grow up to be a crazy old rich guy that lives in Maine and tweets lots of stuff. but it kind of grew from that. And then, they get into society kind of breaks down inside the little grocery store in like 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days, and they're sacrificing people.
They're ready to sacrifice children. And so the folks leave, and then in the book, there's 2 things that don't happen that happen in the movie. They go back to find his wife, and they can't get to the house because the trees and stuff are all down. So they're just like, we'll just keep going.
In the book?
Yeah. So they don't even like try to find his wife.
Seriously?
They're just like, there's a lot of trees in the way, so let's just keep going. Which again is
I would have disbelieved that. I would have disbelieved it.
That's where Stephen King comes up with the good ideas, and he just can never finish them.
Yeah.
He runs out of Coke.
That's one of those things where it's like after it's done, you can kind of sit on it. You can say, I should have changed that.
And then the
which
ending
you
of
did,
the mist,
so
which we can talk about in a second in the movie. And the ending in the book is that they run out of gas, they think they're just stranded, and he hears broken transmissions on his like car radio and says something about Hartford. Like there's something good, civilization is saved in Connecticut.
That's almost a trope with Stephen King, it seems.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's an issue, but there's this place that's good.
Yeah.
You can go here and be safe.
So that's how it ends there.
Yeah.
A little bit different than the movie.
So was there a sequel?
No.
Oh, interesting.
No.
So it just ended on like a hopeful, go to Hartford and things are okay there.
Maybe they'll make it to Hartford. Maybe they won't.
Okay.
But that didn't go that way in the movie.
Yeah, the movie, that rough ending, man. Oh my goodness. That was...
It's so... I always talk about how there's so many times you experience something for the first time that you want to bottle. That's not one that you really want to bottle, because it really is just like, it's like, wow. It's like, I don't even know what to feel with this one. I feel like garbage after watching that. But again, knowing it and watching other people do it, it's kind of, maybe it's a little sick side of enjoyment or something, and seeing other people watch it for the first time.
I definitely think that they could have done something because they run out of gas. I mean, we were spoiling the film, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They run out of gas, and then they're like, well, let's all kill each other. We have to commit suicide because there's nothing else we're going to do. If we leave, we're going to die.
It's magnified by the fact that they just like before that had stopped in the road for this thing that's like crosses the road, and it's like the size of it's like 3 times the size of like a brontosaurus,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, hundreds of feet tall.
got tentacles and stuff on it, and there's
Which-
all these creatures are falling off of it, and
Which I assume that was because I did get, like I told you, I got like Cloverfield vibes from it.
Yeah.
Because in the Cloverfield you had the kaiju creature, and on and off of the kaiju creature came like little parasites. Yeah. And that's kind of what was going on with the Mist, as you had, and it was only like hindsight, you had the giant creature with the tentacles, which I assume was the tentacles from the beginning. Yeah. I assume that was that thing's tentacles.
That's what I assume.
Because they had like the earthquake, and that thing shakes the ground as it walks.
Yeah.
And then after that, you had like the locust things and pterodactyls. Well, so you have the giant squidosaurus thing, and you have the locusts that are like parasites of that, and the pterodactyls that hang around because they eat the parasites.
They're feeding off the parasites.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a little ecosystem on that one creature.
And then you had other things there were spiders in the
pharmacy
and all that.
Yeah.
So there's hideous things coming out of there. When they run out of gas, they're hearing roars of those different monsters around them. Yeah. And I think they're probably all like, they've already watched people get
so many people die,
skin ripped off by like acidic spider web things out of stuff. And they saw the guy that had a bunch of eggs laid inside of him fall down and just burst into babies. And I think they're all like, I don't want any of that. Yeah. It's like, we've got a gun.
I do, like I said, I think between running out, and this is just because it was a movie, between running out and them deciding that, I think there could have been more time, do like a quick time lapse thing, and like, well, no one's coming, show them the more of those things just like flying by or something, to where they know if we leave, they're going to get us.
You could have had if it was like a series, you could have had a whole series of episodes of them being out in the wild, fighting things and getting gas and getting more guns and losing people, picking up people. You could have turned that into a series or something, probably.
I definitely think The Mist will make a really good miniseries.
I think somebody tried.
Oh, really?
I think there was an attempt at a series that maybe... I don't remember what happened on that one. I know maybe confusing as I was looking up some stuff on Event Horizon. Somebody tried to make an Event Horizon series too.
Really?
I can't remember who did what. Wingard did one of them, or was going to do the other one, and I don't think he backed out of it or something. But the
series aired for one 10-episode season on Spike in 2017. Cancel the series.
Yeah.
Same year. I wonder if it finished.
10 episodes, I can't imagine that it had the...
It might be worth a shot at some point.
It'd be worth to see what they did.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But then, they I think he even opens the revolver, counts and sees
counts how many people.
There's 5 of them. He has 4 shots left, and then he just makes the decision, and it's definitely Frank Darabont filmography or cinematography, whatever the right word is. Backs off to like this like low from the ground angle of the thing, and you just see like 1 flash and then 2 flash and then the other 2. Where
it was handled well.
Where you would assume that he goes around the car and probably shoots his son first, and then shoots I want to say Lori, whatever her name was from The Walking Dead.
That was Amanda.
Yep. And then shoots the 2 older folks in the back. And then he loses his mind. And even though he doesn't have any rounds, he tries to shoot himself several times and then just steps outside and
come and get me.
Gonna let him come get him. And then the military comes through with tanks, and everybody from the grocery store survived, and they're using
even the lady who left early that was in The Walking Dead as well.
Yeah, it was Carol.
What's her name? Carol from The Walking Dead. She left early and she was still alive.
Like nobody would go with her.
Yeah.
She was like calling everybody else. Like, is
there a man among you?
Is there any man here that can help me get home?
And all the men were like,
yeah, I don't think so.
No. We're gonna stay here.
Yeah, the military.
I got my kid.
And they're flamethrowing the nest of spiders and stuff, and just kind of killing everything and taking back control. And he's like, "Well, I
enjoyed the cast of this film so much. I think it would be hard to watch a series where it's different people portraying the same characters.
It's amazing that he got that group of people together for a lower budget thing.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a thing, I wasn't Dimension Films, I think they ended up making this. That when he wrote the screenplay with the ending with Stephen King, and they took it to to shop it around to make the movie. Then a lot of people were like, no, it's like, we can't, we're not doing that. And I think it was Dimension was like, we'll do it, but we're not going to give you so much money to do it. So he didn't have a very high budget with it, but that was his condition. It's like, if I'm making it, I'm making my story. If not, we're not making it. And I think only a theater that was willing to sort of, or a production company that was willing to take a chance on it, but not spend a whole lot of money on it. And I guess, you see that group of people now and you think, wow, those are all big name actors. But I guess at the time they were early in the Walking. Well, this is before The Walking Dead. This is before most of those people became famous because of The Walking Dead.
Well, really, it seems like happened is, Thomas Jane had The Punisher before
The Punisher in the Shark movie.
But a lot of these people who went on into The Walking Dead and became almost household kind of names,
Marcia Gay
it was because of Frank Darabont. Because it seemed like he got these people, he liked these people, like, hey, I've got this other project.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Marcia Gay Harden is probably the most famous of that bunch at the time.
Yeah.
And she was a little bit older when they made that movie. But
I was surprised to see Sam Witwer.
Yeah. Toby Jones, the little guy, he's in all kinds of movies. But
great cast, fantastic cast. It really was. Thank you for recommending it. Thank you for having me watch it. I really enjoyed it.
It's a definite watch if you can, because we've spoiled it for you.
Well, hopefully you've seen it at this point. We've told you what happened.
But if you know it and you know people that have not seen it, you can get them to just sit down and watch it without looking up stuff. Just it's a good experience. It's not always a happy one, but
I think maybe I'll add in, like, our description of our videos and podcasts, full spoiler warning ahead for anything we talk about.
If that's fine to do, if we're spoiling something that was made in the 20
years ago. Yeah.
Then you're further behind on material than I am.
Yeah. I'll admit there's been times where I've seen someone talk about, I mean, most people who spoil stuff will spoil stuff that's, like, out new. Like, we're going to talk about weapons here in a few minutes, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's new. But anyway, let's move on. Shin Godzilla. Did you go see it in the theater? 4K?
Yes. Yeah. Nice. Went to go see it on, I don't know how many days they showed it. I went to go see it on the release date. I don't know if it was just that Thursday or if it made, this time around in the theaters, it made like over $1 million. It must have had more than one day. They might have done it through the weekend or something. Didn't they just do the Turtles the same way? They
released the Ninja Turtles for 1 week, made over $3 million, and they have extended it a week so far. Okay. And they've already announced Secret of the Ooze being released in the theaters until 2026.
I saw that.
Want to make this is just an excuse to eat pizza. Want to make a pizza bet? If I say they're not going to release the third one in the theater.
Just because it's not as good?
It's not as good.
The second one won't draw the people?
It's just not as good. Gotcha. People won't be interested. Gotcha. And so if they do release it in the theater, I'll buy us a pizza.
Gotcha.
No, if they don't, I'll buy a pizza too. I like pizza.
But I saw somebody talking on one of the shows the other morning about, they're talking about the box office stuff. And talking about weapons, and then, like, there's Godzilla that only made like $1 million. It's like, it only made $1 million on
a re-release.
On like a weekend.
Yeah.
It's like that's on top of the fact that it was like, I think it broke like box office records when it came out in Japan the first time around. So they're just making more money off of it. But
I love the idea of re-releasing films in the theaters, and I think they should just start doing it regular. Like, I would love to see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids again in theater. Great, it's a perfect movie for the theater.
Make it just a discounted ticket to where if you want to go see Weapons, it's $8. If you want to go see this re-release show, it's $5. I mean,
that is definitely one thing I would agree with, because to see the Ninja Turtles in the theater was $15. What was Shin Godzilla?
I can't remember. Was it 16 or 14? 14. I think it came out in 16. So it's maybe it was 15.
No, I mean, like, this re-release. Like, how much was a re-release to go see?
Oh, it was regular price.
Oh, okay. See, the Ninja Turtle was a Fathom event, and I told you before how I went to the Fathom event for the Fifth Element, and that's what made me stop paying for the Regal Unlimited, because it was it was separate from that.
Here's your special deal, but you can't use it here.
And I did, and the Ninja Turtles is the first time I've actually gone to see the Fathom event, like, paid for the ticket, and it was $15, and I paid $12 for Weapons. Yeah. So I mean, their Fathom events are more expensive, which I don't know if, like, Is it more expensive because they expect fewer people, or because it's a shorter release window? I don't know. But I agree. It should be like half price.
I didn't even pay attention. I was going to go see a Godzilla
You didn't
movie,
care.
and I was like,
Bye.
"Here's, give me my tickets so we can go."
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about this movie, and I didn't understand it the first time I saw it in the theater, and probably even on the second watch, I think when I finally got it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, is that they start off right away with, it's subtitled, so you're trying to read that, but then there'll be this thing that pops up here. It says in this bay, and then they'll switch very quickly to an office where they're having a meeting, and they'll give the title of this defense guy or this prime minister's aide, and they have all these long names, and it flashes back and forth all over the place, and you're sitting there like chasing it, trying to read it, and you can't read the subtitles. It's like you were never intended to read any of that. It's all just supposed to demonstrate how ridiculous the writer of the movie thinks bureaucracy in government is. And I think in some of the cases, and I don't know that, I've just always assumed it, I think he gives some of the people extra long titles to just kind of mock how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
This is the sub assistant vice president to the minister of presidency's vice presidencies, kind of things. And but the first time I watched it, I remember kind of being frustrated. It's like, I can't read all this crap. It's like, slow it down. I'm trying to read this, and I'm trying to read what they're saying, and it's like it's completely not to be meant to be read. It's just, the whole movie is just this commentary on how ridiculous government is, how ridiculous bureaucracy is, and how slow they are to get anything done. And just the more times you kind of see the movie and you kind of approach it understanding that, the more you kind of appreciate the movie, where Godzilla is changes directions, he's mutating and stuff, and half of the movie is them, we got to get these people and we got to decide what to do about this. And by the time they've decided, he's changed directions and he's moved and he's evolved again. So then it's like, oh, we got to reconvene and have more meetings, and it's just this constant loop of really showing how ineffective the government is, and kind of not something you see from, at least back then. I know you didn't see stuff like that from Japan very often. I don't keep up with current Japanese releases. That they're not real big on, I don't even know if allowing people to criticize their government, but you just don't criticize. You don't see a lot of that.
Well, a lot of the criticism, it seemed like from the early Godzilla, was more toward like the West. Like that was the criticism.
Yeah.
Obviously, Godzilla has always been kind of an allegory for nuclear weapons.
I think this was post the big tsunami and all the destruction they had there, and was probably a little bit of frustration from some of that, even though the fact that they felt frustrated by that, they had like bridges and airports that were completely just wiped off the map that were back open in 6 months or less over there.
Mm-hmm.
If that happened over here, you'd be a decade later and still would not even be functioning.
Well, that bridge that got destroyed by that ship a few years ago. Yeah, is that up?
I can't imagine.
Let's see, Baltimore Bridge destroyed.
But I think that was the reason for the attitude of the filmmaker, was because of the tsunami stuff, and I guess there was a lot of frustration in Japan at how much they sidestepped things and kind of delayed things and took so long to decide how to fix things, which again, they have no idea of what we deal with in this country because they are a model of efficiency on a gold standard compared to us.
No, the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore has not yet been rebuilt.
They're probably still arguing over what to call it. Mm-hmm. We'll probably have 3 years of committees to figure out how to change the name from Francis Scott Key to.
They have plans to replace the bridge by October of 2028.
They're going to name it
so 4 years.
Abrego Garcia Memorial Bridge.
There you go.
Or something.
Estimated cost of $1.7 billion. We're not a political podcast. $1.7 billion. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm sure
that's like the suicide nets on the San Francisco bridge. Like those nets cost in relation to how much it costs to actually build the bridge. It like cost like not the same, but a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, because it actually cost them $1 million and they charged $10 billion because every politician involved in it all suddenly owned suicide net companies. And other cool thing about Shin, while we're on that, they have confirmed, I don't know dates and really haven't tried to follow the channels that speculate about stuff, there is a confirmed sequel to Shin.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
So the way it ends, where they freeze him, and you start to see in his tail that all these humanoid things have kind of developed in his tail. It look like people. You don't know if they're like the scientists that disappeared at the beginning or what's that's actually about. I don't know how you can make a sequel without following up on that. And I think we've even talked about like the. I think then you read about some of the stuff where
Yeah, they had all sorts of mutations that it was
like he was
using
eventually going to
through,
become like a planet,
like a planet. Yeah, he was
yeah,
going to become like a god.
just like a universe destroyer
Yeah.
and stuff. So I think the I think the other thing was when the writer or something, then his wife just die
Oh, I don't
right before the
know.
film, the first time from like radiation poisoning for maybe like a
Oh my goodness.
thing. So he also was like big time in a bad place when he made the movie, and like when he wrote some of the stuff where I think he wanted Godzilla to be just to destroy
Destructive.
everything, and so I don't know if it's going to be the same guy, if that guy's even still around. I haven't looked into any of that, but there's lots of places it could go. I don't know if the depressed guy that hates the government will make the sequel, or if somebody else will, or what. But either way, I haven't never seen a new Japanese Godzilla product come out and be like, "Well, that was awful." It's usually it might not always be what you expect it to be. Shin Godzilla wasn't what I thought it would be. I didn't like I said the first time I watched it, I was sitting there in the movie just trying to chase all these like subtitles and all this stuff and all this chaos that's going back and forth, and it was like I didn't think it was a very well made film the first time I saw it because it was hard to process, and it's one of those things. The more times you watch it, it's like, well, it's just that's really really clever and really well done.
I really enjoyed the evolutionary process of Godzilla. I do kind of wish, from what I remember, I wish there was a little more time for the different iterations of Godzilla to shine, because it seemed like, oh, well, he's um, like a big guppy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now he's the Godzilla, the small Godzilla looking thing. Oh, now he's a huge Godzilla. It would have been nice to see.
Now he's got like
a bit more.
Basically like sort of an integrated like radar that when they try to come after him with planes and missiles, he just like bends over and just arches his back and it just takes out everything. Yeah. And like that's very interesting, but a little bit more development there would have been good.
Right. Yeah. Well, I looked up some information. Apparently, it's going back to the San Francisco Bridge. So it looks like it cost them 145 million in 1930. So that does change a little bit, but just hearing the sheer numbers, the suicide net's original estimate was for 76 million in 2014. By the time they finished everything, it was 224 million. Goodness. Now this does take into account 145 million inflation. It was worth 2.8 billion today. So only by like the actual number does it seem like a lot, but still, comment still stands.
There needs
to be a lot of money for some suicide nets.
There needs to be some sort of contract that if you move to Virginia from California, that you swear some sort of oath that if you were involved in any kind of government or anything involving the operation of government, that you're not allowed to do anything in Virginia for like a period of 20 years.
I recently saw. Okay, you know of Minecraft. Okay.
Yeah,
you're familiar with Minecraft. So, do you know the Notch, the creator of Minecraft? Are you familiar with who he is?
Okay. The most that I know of Minecraft is we watched the movie in the hotel room.
Oh, really? Okay. This is the game. Notch had nothing to do with the movie.
I watched somebody do like online playing it for like 10 minutes, and I was just like, this is hard to even watch somebody play. I was like, I don't get it.
See, when Minecraft first came out, when it was like in beta and whatnot, I got into the beta. Look, you bought it. You bought the beta. I bought the beta, and it's a fun game. I have wasted a lot of hours in it. Once Microsoft bought it and they started like adding to it, and like they had spell books and stuff, I never gotten into all that. It was just always about building, which was fun.
I played SimCity on a Macintosh computer for hours, looking at little dots go on a little road this big. So I can't complain about things not.
But
I probably would have been thrilled to have a system I could have played Minecraft on. I was just never in our collection of things that we did.
This is going to tie back to what you just said. I saw online where Notch was talking about recruiting for a new game because he sold Minecraft and he got a whole bunch of money, and now I guess he's working on another game. And he was saying that the person that he wanted for the game wouldn't relocate to Los Angeles, and people were asking him. He was like, "Well, why are you there?" Because he's gotten kind of in trouble online for having conservative views, and they're like, "Well, why don't you move?" He was like, "It's a sunk cost fallacy. I'm here. I've spent money. Okay, whatever." But you were talking about leaving from California. Like,
That's like
people
saying,
don't want to go to California.
It's like saying, I spent all this money on this Bugatti, and now I have to pay for premium gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how about you just get rid of the Bugatti, and then you don't have to keep paying for the premium gas?
He had a lot of snarky comments responding to people about the inefficiency of government. Like, well, where else could I move to where the where I could be overtaxed and have the government work as inefficiently or as efficiently wasting my money? Stuff like that. He was just kind of making snarky comments, instead of actually addressing well, why don't you leave? But it was an entertaining 5 minutes reading his responses.
Kind of not really related, just moderately related, as they just had the World Championships in Pokemon, and I think they announce every year where the next one's going to be. They're going to do the next one in San Francisco.
Okay.
It's like, how on earth? They've had nationals a couple times down in New Orleans. New Orleans is like,
that's awesome.
New Orleans is like one of the worst crime rate places in the country.
Like, oh, it is.
It's like I think the only place that you get more likely you're getting carjacked is like Baltimore. I know Memphis is number one crime per capita and all that stuff, but I don't think Memphis is as big an area as New Orleans. But we were in San Francisco in 2016, and it was pretty much that you let all the crazy homeless people come out at nighttime, and then the police would come out and shoo them off in the morning.
Get out.
And now they've just stopped doing it to where it's, you've seen all the stuff online. I'm sure there's places, it's like every other city that I've been to, where I'm sure there are little affluent places with the little coffee shop and the little fancy food market and all that stuff that are policed heavily and protected. And then if you go 2 blocks in one direction or the other, you're going to go into something that's just, you're risking your life to even enter into it.
I'd love to know some of the rationalizations they have for having these events in these big cities. Like, what are they getting from that? Is it just access to people? Because I think it would be really beneficial for like the Champion or like the PAX, which is like a nerd culture video game expos, to be in smaller cities and have people migrate to go to those cities.
The same people that were like running events for Pokemon, they were all online saying that they wanted to ban and protest all the events they did in Florida because Ron DeSantis did so and so. And it's political people that are involved in stuff, and it's just them. We have controls. We're going to have it in our little place to prove to you that we can have it in our place. And when you go to somewhere like that for an event, that's fine if you can afford to go there and stay on site in the super expensive hotel and stay within the bounds of the protected area. If you're like we are, we'd be looking to go find somewhere cheaper to stay to be able to afford to go to an event like that. And we're not going to a city like San Francisco and doing that, where if you go to try to find a cheaper hotel, you're taking your life into your hands. It's like, I'm not doing that just to watch people play a card game. It's like, no. It's,
you can't tell me there's not a small city within an hour of San Francisco that could hold this venue.
Oh yeah,
and it would be a real boon to the city's economy. I just don't know why. Somewhere. I don't know why it's always San Francisco. It's always New York. It's always Los Angeles. These large cities, like what are they offering the Pokemon Company or these other organizations?
It's the same thing that they did with the way they organized everything. They cut out everybody that was a smaller part of it and corporatized it, and it's they want their events to be that way. I guess if you're not one of their affluent equivalents, then we don't want you to come, because if you can't be one of us, then you're not good enough. I guess, I don't know.
So, yeah, is it just literally the preference of the people who are organizing these things?
Yeah, no, it's based in Bellevue, Washington. It's the same. It's basically Seattle.
Yeah.
So the people that are making the decisions are go to Seattle for a week, and you can get that question answered for yourself, I guess.
And for okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a complete side.
We're gonna get into some stuff we shouldn't, but let's move on.
Yeah.
I saw Weapons. And this is the second film by filmmaker Zach Krieger. Barbarian was the
But,
first.
sorry, Barbarian.
Yeah. Now, Barbarian, I enjoyed. I thought the second half fell flat, but
it's interesting. I see so many people say, "Oh, I love Barbarian."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Did you?" It's like, was it that good? I don't remember it being. I remember it being really strong, and then like really fading. And I see so many people that have, in reference to talking to weapons, are like, "Oh, Barbarian was great." I'm like, I don't think it was. It's like,
and yeah, well, we could definitely probably talk about this at another point, but the first half was great. It just
of weapons.
Of Barbarian.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The first half was great, and there's a lot of movies like that where like the setup and everything, the lead up is great, but when the reveal happens, it's like,
Yeah.
that the reveal wasn't worth the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
You know, but Weapons, I would not say that about Weapons. I think Weapons was a good film, start to finish. I think
this is my. I have not looked into this. I
Okay.
have not watched any details of it because I'd like to just watch it myself too.
Yeah, you told me that you had a theory.
My theory, just by the title and the basic premise of it, is that it was just an allegory for school shooting. And I don't know. Is that even remotely?
I would say no.
Okay, because the name of it, weapons, obviously,
and you have kids.
The premise is that all of a sudden one day all the kids are gone, and then kind of looked like it was more of a story of what happens after that happens. And I didn't know if that's what they were trying to lean at.
That's an interesting thought, but I think you'd have to reach pretty hard to make that fit.
It's like a thought I have because I approach most movies at this point is like, what are they
trying to say?
What bull crap are they trying to sell me this time, and how are they trying to hide their message and package it to me? And I kind of figured that was. It seemed like an obvious on that one. But
it's like the triangle peg can fit in the square hole, but that's not a hole for it.
I got you.
That's if you wanted to ignore some of the stuff about the film and say, well, that's what this is about, maybe, but I really don't see.
It seemed to me like it was.
That doesn't feel appropriate for me.
I feel like the title and stuff. It just seemed like that's what I saw the first time I saw the trailer, and I was like, that seems like a cool idea, but I feel like I'm getting ready to be sold. I ordered a steak and you're trying to sell me a tuna sandwich kind of thing.
It's not a film you have to watch in the theater. There's some films really benefit from theater viewing. I wouldn't say that. I really just saw this because I've been itching for some horror films, and this came out like right at the right time. It seemed creepy enough.
I was gonna say it led like the box office for weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I think that literally is just because its competition was a re-release of a Godzilla movie from a decade ago and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
I mean, this seems like this is that dead time of the year where I guess people go back to finishing vacations, go back to school, kids go to college, and theaters are just like, we're not doing anything right now. And it's kind of surprised that it got released this time of the year, unless it was just one of those things that maybe a studio didn't know what to do with or what, I don't know.
Maybe. It had Josh Brolin in it. We mentioned last time that it was originally supposed to be Pedro Pascal, which would have been funny in this. It would have been like the summer of Pascal if that was the case.
It would have gone onto my list of y'all have fun watching that.
But Josh Brolin did a good job, and I really liked the woman who played the Silver Surfer. What's her name? Julia Garner.
I can never remember if it's Julie or Julia.
I will say this much about her character. I really like when filmmakers allow a character to be flawed, and that's all I'll say. It's.
You never watched Ozark, right?
No.
It's not as bad as getting back into.
I want to. That's Jason Bateman, right?
It's not as bad as like trying to go back and say, well, I'm going to go watch Breaking Bad now, and having to devote 3 months of your life to
Right.
watching all of Breaking Bad. It's a shorter series than that.
Okay. Well, if you want to watch Breaking Bad, you got to watch Better Call Saul too. So
that's true.
That's 6 months of your life.
Yes. I've seen her in other things since then. That's still the best thing that I've seen her do. But I think it's because it's probably the one time they sort of let her be the kind of character actor that she can be. I've seen her in a lot of other things where she was kind of getting shoehorned into roles, and I don't know what she plays in this. It's a teacher, right?
Yeah, she plays a teacher.
Yeah.
There is a comment that I have that I won't say, but once you watch it, I want to talk to you about it, because I do feel like there's a plot hole in there where it's like, why didn't this happen, or something like that.
That's every movie that's happened in the last 5 years
True.
that I can think of.
Yeah.
Where you,
Again, while you're making something, you don't really have the higher perspective of afterward and seeing it, so it's easy to pick things apart.
yeah.
But there was something specific I want to talk to you about. Won't talk about it on this episode.
Is there much more that you can say on that one other than kids they all just ran off? That's pretty much it. And then you just have to find out the rest of the movie is the why from different angles.
Yes. Okay. I'll also say this. The movie is sort of broken up into chapters where you have the event and then it goes through and it'll show you events from other characters' perspectives.
Yes.
And it'll show you events that lead, like you'll watch some of the movie, an event will happen, and then the next chapter will be a perspective from that character, from one of the characters that was involved in that scene, but you see like the lead up to that scene.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that part of the film. I think that was a really smart way to build this narrative, to show not only what's currently happening and also why it's happening without spoiling things before it need to be spoiled, or without revealing things before it need to be revealed.
Yes.
It was a very smartly made movie.
The that makes me think of, it seems like there was a while like in Panic Room and all these things, like Forrest Whitaker was in 30,000 movies all in like that little stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the one that I was trying to get back online, this computer's and it's dying.
We want to look up Forrest Whitaker?
Dying years. The one there was like an assassination attempt or something, and the whole movie kind of keeps going through like 4 or 5 different perspectives of the same event. I can't remember what it was called, but one of the first times I remember seeing a movie kind of like that, where they just kind of redo it. And there's the Jake Gyllenhaal movie where he keeps dying trying to stop the bombing on the train, and he keeps going back. I like stuff like that, where even, gosh, my favorite one. Have you seen Run Lola Run?
Yes.
Gosh, I love that movie. It's just the same.
That's a classic.
Same 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever she has to try to get and stop her boyfriend, and if it doesn't work, she wakes up and has to restart it again. And I love stuff like that. I don't know if that's exactly what they were doing in Weapons or not, but
not exactly.
Yeah, we'll get that on the list to see.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it will go to a service pretty quick. It's probably at the end of its theater run right now.
I would say probably by the end of the year, you probably have access to it.
Yeah. Just depends on where it goes, I guess. If it goes to HBO,
I'll
probably miss it.
Where have you watched Ultraman? I
have been watching Ultraman on Prime. Let me pull that back up. I said before, it's on Prime.
Okay.
That kind of just felt like I needed to go back and watch it because I'd just been to G Fest and it's kind of immersed into a whole lot of Godzilla stuff there over a period of a few weeks. And there's so much Ultraman stuff that's from that same universe. I don't think they ever cross over, but the studios, they were all making Godzilla stuff, Gamera, then the Ultraman stuff kind of popped up and became its own thing after that. And they've got the original series on, and I wanted to go back and watch it before I got into I think I listed that the last time we recorded how many hundreds of properties have spun off of Ultraman since then. The original series is 39 episodes, and I've only watched 6 of them. But they really are just episodic things. I think once you've watched a couple, I think you've watched most of it. It's just a classic kids TV show. I mean, it's the kind of thing I would have loved to have access to when I was, kindergarten to middle school age. It's enough action to make it fun. It's things that would be pretty tense and scary for a younger kid at times, but it's usually kind of balanced by the fact that they have a lot of like slapstick stuff in it and things like that. And it's one of the ways I would almost describe it as it's like if you mixed 60s Batman, like that series, with like the Twilight Zone. It's somewhere in the middle of all those.
See, I've always seen it as more of like a Power Rangers.
I never watched the Power Rangers. Okay. I'm sure Power Rangers is based off of. It's got to be based off of this. But it's everything that I wish that I could have done if I'd gotten into filmmaking. Like I said, I remember I had a little book from Godzilla that I got in elementary school at a book fair that showed the model rooms and stuff for some of the Godzilla stuff with walkways over top and guys flying planes around on strings and stuff. And it was like, however, I missed that window. If I missed my calling in life, it would have been to go back and make these films where little toy boats and planes and little simple buildings. And when they have a tidal wave, you can tell it's like in a little tiny pool inside.
Right.
And there's like a little miniature like umbrellas and seats by the pool that'll all get washed away in the big tidal wave that the monster comes in. And guys in suits that you watch them in the suit and you can tell like they can't tell where they are because there's probably an eye hole that looks up somewhere. And I love the thing when the good guy like Ultraman in the series, these aliens come down and leave a capsule behind, and they say you can turn into Ultraman if you hold this capsule. So one of the guys on this little space defense force has the Ultraman capsule. Nobody else on the force knows that he has it. Almost every episode is like, hey, where did he go? And then he turns into Ultraman. It's like
Clark Kent Superman situation.
Yeah, and then he comes right back afterwards after Ultraman flies off, and they're like, oh, thank you for saving us. And then all of a sudden he shows back up.
Where
like,
you been?
He's like, I missed Ultraman again. Dang it. I just love that stuff. I love the fights though, like at the ends where he almost always gets beat. He always he has this little thing that says he's going to run out of energy.
With that blue thing in the center?
It starts flashing red.
Oh, he even had takes energy from the sun.
If he runs out of energy, then he won't be able to stand up again. I think they've said that 3 or 4 times. And he always just wins right before he runs out of energy and then flies off. But when he wins, I love the thing they do in Godzilla movies and this too, where they'll take the suit that the actor was in for the bad guy, the bad monster, and just take the guy out of it, and they just give Ultraman the empty suit, and he just he thrashes it back and forth and slams it up and down. You can just see it has nothing in the arms.
They didn't even like stuff in the arms.
No, yeah,
that's great.
No, you can sit there and watch like the arms fold over, and you can tell there's nothing in there. It's just
that's wonderful.
I love it. However, if there ever was a window to have gotten into that industry, I really regret that I could not find it. I don't want to be involved in big budget movies and high dollar special effects. I want to have a bathtub with a little toy destroyer that you push. You have somebody when they say action, you push it across, and it just floats across. And the guy in the suit comes up, picks it, and throws it. And it's such a fun show. It's one of those ones that you don't have to just keep watching it every day to stay up on it. I've got the gist of it. I can keep watching them when I have time, and I think I have enough of it that I can watch some of the other properties now.
Just my mind. I got a flash of a property of Mountain Man, and it's just a man from Appalachia, and he takes a swig of moonshine and grows huge, and he becomes Mountain Man.
We could make that show starting next week if you want to. I've got the bibs.
There you go.
I'm not going to drink the alcohol. We can just put some water in a little bottle with some X's on it.
Easy enough. You just take like Mothman, the Jersey Devil, and oh no, there was some nuclear waste, and now they're huge.
How do we copyright?
Help us, Mountain Man.
How do we copyright this so somebody can take
copyright? Well, going from lower budget, high action, we'll go to high budget, low action. Severance.
Yeah.
You've never watched any of this show.
No.
Okay. I'll give you the exposition. The premise of the show is there is this procedure that people can go through for this company called Lumen, where they put a little chip in your brain, and you go on this one particular floor in their office building. It's like underground. And it's called the severed floor, and it switches your personality from you to someone else. And they call them innies and outies. Your personality when you're out of the building, your personality when you're in the building. And the innie only has ever had experience inside the building. Their entire life is in the building. And this is what these people do for work.
Okay.
So in the series, you follow the main character. He's the guy, I forget the actor's name. He's the guy from Parks and Rec. Severance cast. Adam Scott. Yeah. Adam Scott plays
it's the guy from
Mark S.
See the guy from Krampus?
I don't know.
Pretty sure that's the guy from Krampus.
I've never seen Krampus.
Oh my goodness.
Krampus film. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that and Toni Collette. That actually makes me want to see it. Nice. Anyway, yeah, you follow Mark S., Adam Scott's character, as he learns about his Audi and learns about what Lumen is. And this is the show that I told you they had a character in it, named, not a character, a person in it named Kier. And it really reminded me of the prophetic character in Blade Runner in the novel.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't until I read the novel that I kind of saw that in this, and I'm wondering if there's any inspiration there, because it is like almost a religion that they've made for these innies, for them to I guess to control them. But it's a fantastic. It's written. I think it was written and it's been produced, and I know directed by Ben Stiller.
I was gonna say, with all the people I see involved, is it comedy or?
Yeah, I would put it under a dark comedy. That's what I would call it.
I was gonna say, there's too many people there to put into like a serious, like kind of dark series and have them be like, well, y'all can't be funny.
There's definitely like notes of like Black Mirror. You can see the inspirations of that. Yeah. We finished the second series and the second season, and it ended on like a cliffhanger. And the first thing I did at the end of the second season was like, oh, is there gonna be a third? Because it was one of those cliffhangers where like I could see them saying that's the end of the story.
And I see it on the product. It's an Apple TV.
Yeah.
I heard this morning that I don't remember what the measurement was. I don't know if it's the last year or if it's just since the inception of it that they've lost over $1 billion.
Apple TV has? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I don't remember what the measurement was.
Well, I know Netflix for years and years were operating in the negative.
Yeah.
In the red or the black or however you say that.
So I don't know how long lived Apple TV is. But
I don't know. All these companies operate on the loss somehow.
Well, it's that they make so much off of other things that they just run. It's like Disney.
Yeah.
Disney makes all these horrible movies that lose all this money. You're paying for it every time you go to their parks and buy a $17 drink that you can refill all day and $200 tickets and stay in a $400 hotel. And
there's also an assumption, at least from my part, where, well, these companies will say they lost money and they can show they lost money, but they really don't lose money. You know what I'm saying?
I've always assumed that the railroad, the reason, we both worked there for years, that the reason they hired so much management and were so top heavy on people is that was how they showed in the books that they operated at a loss.
Yeah.
So that they still got money from the government.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here is like, well, if you operate a loss, then you have a tax write-off. And
yeah. And
so maybe that's the whole idea is they're like, well, let's make shows and on the books
they make these shows to actually make up for all the money they make on the other stuff and make it to where it's more of a closer to an operating budget. And that way, when they go on and say that we need to tear down all the rich, that they're not just targeting themselves,
right?
Since they are those people.
But it is one of those. The first season, second season, both the seasons, I think one of the higher quality series I've seen in a long time.
I've seen a lot of people say that the shows they've seen on Apple seem to be really good, but
there are a few shows that I haven't even bothered with that I'm really interested in. I think is The Expanse one of them. There's a few on Apple TV that I'm really interested in. There's something else that I heard
a lot of people talk about, and I think it's more of a drama type thing. But my internet is
getting wonky.
I think this computer has just reached its age limit on staying connected. I think its little data card is probably dying.
Yeah. I'm going to Apple Originals, seeing what kind of, and this is the same for every one of these streaming services. The sheer quantity of stuff that they're making is insane. Foundation, that's what I was thinking. Invasion, Blackbird, Presumed Innocent, Murderbot. I wanted to watch that. I still haven't. I still haven't watched that.
I've heard some people talk about some stuff that was on there. I can't remember what it was called. It might have been that Black, whatever one was.
Blackbird?
Maybe that. I don't know.
Show called Silo.
I know that's a longer running thing.
This has Rebecca Ferguson in it.
Yeah. It's like everybody's underground, and
Ted Lasso is really popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shrinking with Harrison Ford. Yeah, there's just all sorts of great stuff on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Not sponsored. But that's one of those things with all the different streaming services raising their prices and stuff. It wouldn't be a bad strategy to like sign up for one and just like watch all the stuff you want
That
on
was
that.
where the story started. I heard this morning was that they were going from $9.99 to $12.99. They just raised their prices for, I guess, monthly. I think they have different packages for if you buy it longer term or buy it all year or however it is you do it. But I think their monthly thing just went up $3. So I think that was the reason for the story on them.
Okay.
I don't think $3 a person is going to make up for $1 billion operating loss, but like I said, they might not even be operating at a loss. It's all just a game they play.
All right, and the next thing we're going to talk about is DC, right?
Yeah, I threw that in as a stuff because our appetizer section is what we are doing, and I think here since the last time we taped, I've watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ones, maybe 8 different DC animated stuff. They've bounced around all over the place. They were on Tubi for a while. And I kept seeing them on there. I was like, well, I need to figure out how to like watch these and what order you're supposed to watch them in. And I checked different websites, and you either just found nonsense on the website or you found 3 different people that would say you need to watch them in 3 different orders.
Right.
So I would spend more time reading how you should watch them and never actually watch them. They went off Tubi, and I was like, fine, screw it, I just won't watch them. And I saw that there were not all of them. There's a bunch of them on YouTube right now just for free. And I just picked the first one that popped up and watched Hush, that one is a story about, it's kind of a little mystery story about the Riddler.
Hush was one of those. It was something before it was animated. It was either a novel.
It was
it a comic series?
It was either a series or a graphic novel. I
Right.
don't remember which one. And from there, I watched The New Frontier, which is kind of them in like the Korean War era, all the superheroes.
Oh.
Attack on Arkham. I watched Superman Doomsday, Batman Bad Blood, and Green Lantern First Flight. So I've watched these just as they pop up. I'll watch them. I don't think I've seen anything in any of them or like, man, I should have watched the other one before this. I think there are a couple of the Batman stories that you probably need to do that. I think there's one about Damian and Robin. Dick Grayson is Robin, and then Damian Wayne becomes Robin, and Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing. And I think some of that maybe matters chronologically, but I haven't done any of those. The coolest one I watched is the last one. It was Justice League Gods and Monsters. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I love stuff like this where it exists on its own, and it was just trying to do something different. And the whole idea is that when Kal-El, is it Jor-El or Kal-El? Jor-El is Superman, right?
No, Kal-El is Superman.
When Jor-El is
his dad.
Getting ready to send them off, he's not actual. Superman's not an actual baby. He's just like a pod, and he's Jor-El is supposed to come up and basically like put a drop of blood or put his finger into the thing so it would take his DNA and turn the baby into his spawn or whatever, and then launch him out into space because they were in the whole.
Has that always been a part of Superman lore where it's like they're heavy into genetic manipulation and creation?
In what I've seen, I don't know. And it was a big part.
So that's how they Kryptonians reproduced.
That was how the Zack Snyder stuff wasn't it?
Yeah, where Kal-El was like the first naturally produced Kryptonian in like forever.
Yeah. So there's always some sort of genetic engineering thing.
Eugenics going on.
But in this one, Zod comes in and kills Jor-El and puts his finger in and then launches him off.
Oh, so Zod is Kal's dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the whole thing, and then it comes to like, this would be the alternate world that this all happened in. And Superman looks like Zod. Same powers, same everything else.
I mean, same powers as the Superman, you mean?
Yeah.
He just looks like Zod.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up.
And then Batman is actually the Man-Bat. He's like a vampire.
Okay.
and then Wonder Woman is
See, that's what I was thinking is Gods and Monsters. It seemed like it was like mixing with like Universal monsters or something, but it's not.
I don't know. I I just watched the movie. I remember
So
looked up
that's
a few.
Superman.
Yeah,
He has a brow and a goatee.
and the Wonder Woman character is supposed to be based off something from the comics of somebody named Becca,
Okay.
which is a whole different series thing. But it basically was kind of a story of these are the good guys. Everybody was kind of scared of them. Somebody was trying to set them up to make them look bad and turn everybody against them, and they actually sort of they do the right thing and sort of save everybody anyway. So it was kind of a cool, different way to watch a Superman story
Mhm.
where it wasn't the traditional thing. It was told with different characters.
That was his like look.
Yeah,
Huh.
and the Batman
That's
guy.
a weird look.
There's a base. I can't remember the name of the character that Batman was based off of. It's somebody in the canon of stuff,
Okay.
but he's a vampire, but he basically in this world he only preys on criminals. So he doesn't kill anybody good, but he does have to kill people.
I've often thought if vampires were real, you'd have them breaking into prisons every night.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people just all together.
Why
Can't
break into
escape.
prisons?
Just go to prison.
Just give them a room at the prison.
Right. The Wonder Woman design reminds me of like She-Ra from He-Man.
Yeah. I've read a little bit on Wikipedia while I was watching it, just trying to see what some of it was based off of, and it was kind of interesting in the story. They try to set it up like Lex Luthor is the one trying to set them up as the bad guy, and he's actually out in space on like a space station,
Oh.
and he's not. He's not the bad guy. It's another researcher that was friends with whatever the real character's name is of the Man Bat. He's not Bruce Wayne. It's something else like Kyle Harrington or something.
Oh,
I can't remember what the name is.
interesting.
So it was cool to watch. Just to me, that was all new information, all new story, and I like watching stuff like that. And honestly, I watched all of this because I wouldn't say that the Superman movie rekindled any spark or any interest in stuff, but I enjoyed the Superman movie, and I was like, well, watch some more stuff with these characters in it,
Yeah.
and that's just why I've been watching them.
Years ago, I bought Batman the Animated Series because that was really my only exposure to DC growing up. Like I knew who Superman was. I saw Lois and Clark, the Dean Cain Superman show in the mid to late '90s. I saw that, but really, Batman the Animated Series was what I knew.
Yeah.
So I had bought that on the Voodoo app a while ago, and I created a list of like all the DC animated universe stuff, and I'm just like waiting for it to go on sale to be cheap enough for me to buy them, because I'd love to watch the extended all the extended series.
Like the
you're watching more like the films.
Yeah, these are all just one shot movies.
Yeah.
Which one was it? The New Frontier was kind of like them, and I've said something about that before. I've always thought that's kind of what we should do with superhero movies, kind of like what they sounded like they tried to do with the Fantastic Four, is take them back to the time frame that they were created in and make the movies in those worlds. And that's what the New Frontier was. It was all like sort of 50s anti-communism era of government when we were fighting in Korea. I think that was the whole Green Lantern arc, was that he was a pilot flying a fighter jet in Korea, and some of that. The Attack on Arkham one was really cool. A character I have not ever seen anything. I think I read that she was in some of the CW stuff, like Killer Frost.
Yeah, it's a relatively classic character. Yeah,
she was a great character in that, and the Killer Shark guy, or whatever his name was, King Shark. He was in that too. So there's a lot of the Suicide Squad stuff with the Boomerang dude, all those.
I mean, his name is, I think, literally Captain Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang. Yeah.
So there's a let's see. There's a film that just seemed interesting to me. I think it was Gotham by Gaslight or something.
I've seen that title, but I don't think it's on the YouTube ones.
Yeah, it's just like it's set like back in the Victorian era. Here you go. Gotham. Yeah, Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah.
I like that DC does that, where it's just, hey, like you're saying, it's like, hey, here's a reimagining of this character in a different setting, or like they have the Red Sun of Krypton, that whole story for Superman.
There's one I wanted to watch and it's not on there. It's is it the Reign of Superman? There's like a whole bunch of somebody makes a bunch of sort of cyber clones of Superman.
Yeah, Reign of Superman.
I thought that was like that would be cool
Superman.
to watch. It kind of sounded like it might be a little bit of what they kind of pulled from with the gun movie they just did, where he had a clone that he fought against, and
the assumption for that particular character is that he'll come back as Bizarro.
Okay,
I think that makes sense.
The Attack on Arkham one completely. Gunn, when he did that the most recent Suicide Squad movie, had to have pulled pretty heavy from that because there's a lot of very similar stuff in that story. Yeah, there's a handful of other ones on there. I have not watched them all.
Yeah,
I kind of want to.
There's a lot of them.
I want to get those Batman ones and see if they do matter, because they have the 2-part thing that was the Dark Knight, the basis for those two. They have those on there. I think the Bad Blood one that I watched maybe should have probably fallen into that line somewhere. I might have watched that one out of order because it was kind of him and Catwoman kind of becoming a team and falling in love. And I think Damian Wayne was already in existence in that, and Nightwing was already there. So I think I probably jumped out of order on that.
Yeah, you have Nightwing. Who's that in Bad Blood?
That is, I cannot see.
He looks like a guy in a Batman techno suit.
There was a lot of stuff
with
with
Constantine movie.
There's a lot of stuff with Bane and Poison Ivy in that one, and there was a can't remember the character that was kind of controlling all the bad guys. It wasn't the Riddler or the Joker, but
Mad Hatter. He's a character who controls.
I have to go back and watch. I've just been turning these things on while I've been doing stuff and watching them, and
there's a lot to watch.
They're good. They're a good waste of time. I don't think I've seen one yet that's more than like about an hour and 15 minutes. So you don't get tied into some
2-hour epic that you have
superhero movies that are 2 hours and 45 minutes. That
the Dark Knight Returns Part 2, Part 1, 2, and 3. Actually, it looks like.
I know you get into the whole thing with Ra's al Ghul and Natalia al Ghul, and Damian Wayne is a child that he has with her, and I guess some of that probably is some canon stuff. Probably matters if you watch it in order. I don't know.
Well, for the longest time, I mean, it seems like the fandom really thinks the animated DC universe is of higher quality than the live action stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's things that are, quote unquote, not right in all of that, but all the ones I've watched they're good watches. I don't go back and sit around and think about them for hours on end after I'm done. They're just.
Well, that's one thing that I think that James Gunn is. Hopefully, he's going to do. I don't 100% know. It seems like he wants to really tie everything in.
Yeah.
But last one I want to talk about is The Penguin.
Yeah.
It was on HBO. It was a series that's set in the world of the Batman film with Robert Pattinson.
A lot of reaction to it, and I saw some reviews. I watched like some of the people that review stuff talk about it, and it seemed to be pretty universally loved by everybody that kind of watched it. So
yeah, I quite enjoyed it. And since watching that, I've gone back and watched the Batman, and for some reason, like my biggest the biggest criticism I can give of the Penguin show is they're very, like, if they mention Batman, it's once. Like, it's set aside from Batman. They don't seem to be afraid that Batman's going to get them or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that actually led me to thinking.
Is it before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That it's not. No. But that led me to think as I was watching the series that it took place before the Batman film. But since then I've rewatched the Batman, and it's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
I love Ben Affleck's Batman. I think he got shafted. I wish we got more of him.
Yeah.
And because of that,
we really didn't get Ben Affleck's Batman.
not by himself.
Not by himself.
No.
We got him in just thrown in with all this other crap. And
Yeah.
I think he was a good Batman because I like that. I like that version that's like a my age Batman.
Oh, I like the fact that he was huge.
That his knees are bad and his back hurts, and he can get suits to sort of help him still.
Batman being tightly taller than Superman, I think is great.
Yeah,
I think that's because the dynamic between them I thought was good. I was very resistant to Robert Pattinson as Batman. Like I wanted to dislike him. I looked for reason. I can't. He's great. I love what he did with Batman.
I'd seen enough of the stuff that he'd done leading up to that, other sort of indie films and stuff, where
I was like, High Life.
They kind of washed out all the werewolf love story crap, whatever that was, Twilight. And I think I'd been forced to sit through a couple of those Twilight movies, and they were just. If I stayed awake, I was thinking about baseball or something while we were watching them. It was just. They didn't do a thing for me. I know it was kind of the books themselves sort of fell into that interest of kind of high school, middle school to high school age kids and girls and stuff. And the few times I heard about people going to the movie theaters, they said they were surrounded by 40-year-old women. They were all like
right,
screaming at the screen every time a guy took a shirt off. And I was like, I don't think I want to go get involved in that. So, but what were those movies like? The one where he's on the run with his like brother. It's like a good guy or something like that. I can't remember. Then High Life, and he did these other kind of weird.
Oh, Robert Pattinson
Pattinson movies.
See, I hadn't seen much of him before I saw the Batman.
I saw a couple.
I've gone back and watched some.
I was like, wow, he's good when he's not being a bleached out vampire,
a sparkly vampire boy
fighting Wolfman, Dog Boy, whatever that one was.
But that's definitely one of the things about the Penguin series is it's in the same world. It feels like it's in the same world, but it doesn't tie enough into the film. I didn't feel maybe they'll do that if they do any more series.
It seems like it would be hard to make it without Batman if it takes place after what's already happened.
Right, exactly.
There's
if
too much
it takes place before, it makes sense because in the Batman, when it starts, Batman's just literally a street level vigilante, sticking to the shadows. He's only beating up like street level thugs. He's not out there trying to be a symbol of hope for everybody.
Yeah.
He calls himself Vengeance.
Who is the main girl?
Christy Molatone. The woman who plays Sophia Falcone.
So
Kristen.
Is that Carmen Falcone's daughter?
Milotti. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was kind of wondering in the storyline where.
Milioti.
Who she was.
Milioti.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Kristen Milioti, she's great. I knew her from, it was one of those things like, where do I know her? From How I Met Your Mother.
Does that character in canon become anybody else, or is she just always a Falcone? She doesn't become any
in
other...
In this series, she's always Falcone.
But in the other Batman stuff, she doesn't
become I don't know.
Superhero, supervillain.
I honestly do not know.
Okay. Sometimes they'll tie stuff in, sometimes they won't. She might just be just herself. I didn't know. Looks like she definitely exists in the comics.
Yeah, she exists in the comics, but it looks like she's just always herself.
Is she like one of the people that's in Arkham or something?
The picture they have, she has like a halo on to keep her neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just
okay.
She's revealed to her identity behind the alias, the Hangman, and that is a part of the story of the Penguin.
Okay.
You find out more about that. She does a fantastic job. Again, kind of like we were talking before with The Mist, just an all-star cast. The cast is fantastic. It
blows me away when I saw the Batman that I think I had seen that Colin Farrell was in it, and I was like, I think I kind of got to the end of the movie, and I was like, which one was Colin Farrell?
Right.
And it was like, he was the Penguin. It's like, how in the world was he the Penguin? And
they did a great job.
That's an insane amount of makeup to do. It seems like it would have been easier to just cast somebody that looked like that than to go through all that trouble.
You'd think.
I don't know if I've ever understood the reason why they went to that trouble to do him. That's just something he wanted to do, or
he definitely looks like there are people who look like the Oz Cobb looks.
Clancy Brown is in it.
Yeah.
You could have just dyed his hair, and
Right.
he would have looked just like that.
Yep.
And I could have found you. Probably give me a book, or just give me 20 minutes on IMDb. I can find you 10 guys that look like that.
That is one thing about the characters. The Penguin's real name is Oz Cobb, not Oswald Cobblepot.
Okay.
And they changed it because they thought Cobblepot was silly. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. It's a small change. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to more. I hope they make more. It would be great if they made like series of other villains.
Yeah.
And I really like that James Gunn seems to be like he's gonna let this series, this Batman series, whatever they're gonna be doing between TV shows and films, be its own thing, while James Gunn DCU does its own thing.
I think we've talked about that.
I think that's
before.
great.
We take like the Joker movie and whatever the unfortunate folly times 2 was that it seemed like that would still be really hard to connect any of those worlds to the world they made with the Batman. And probably it seemed like the Penguin is pretty much in the same style as the Batman, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah,
it definitely feels like it's in the same world. And James Gunn has been talking about casting for his version of Batman. So I mean, they're actively building his version of this world and leaving this alone. And I think that's it's interesting how the Zack Snyder DCU tried to catch up to Marvel as being a cinematic universe, because I think this is probably the way Marvel should have gone with the whole, and they still might with this whole multiverse saga. They really should just at one point say, all right, well, there's a multiverse, so here's a bunch of stories in the multiverse. Yeah. Not the what if kind of stories, but just like, hey, here's another story with Iron Man. It's not associated with anything else. It's just Iron Man.
I've said this before about the Superman movie, that there are parts of it that might have been a little bit, for people my age, but making a movie that appeals to kids, I think, is more important if you want to keep some of these properties going around, instead of us just being in our 80s talking about the 18th Batman movie that they've made and being like, yeah, my Batman in my day was this.
Right.
That you need to make things. And kind of going back to Ultraman. Ultraman was a show that was made to draw kids into that whole bigger sort of kaiju world. And I'm sure it's what got a lot of kids in Japan into Godzilla stuff, into Gamera stuff, into all the other kaiju things that spun off into multiple, probably got them into anime because so many of those things kind of relate with giant robots and mecha stuff. And when you start doing Ultraman stuff and then you start making Gundam series, it's a pretty natural progression into that. And doing that with some of this, I'd like to see him do his own Batman, honestly, and not be at such a everything doesn't have to be a Frank Miller Batman. It doesn't have to be all dark. Let him be a superhero, have a goofy, over the top Joker.
I mean, look at Adam West's Batman. That was the first live action Batman. It was very, very slapstick. So
yeah. And
not that you need to go that far.
That's still most everybody's favorite characters, or some of the bad guys in that old series. And my daughter could sit here and probably talk to you about those for days. I haven't watched all of it, but I think there's there's all kinds of like crazy, like a mushroom guy and all kinds of stuff. I can't even remember what they all are, but having more stuff like that to appeal to kids again, and then you could do this crazy thing like make toys that kids could play with.
Right.
And
imagine that.
Then
I definitely think that James Gunn has an opportunity. I don't know if he'll take it, but an opportunity to make a more lighthearted Batman, I guess.
Yeah.
More like a Boy Scout than just this dour, depressed man in a bat suit.
Yeah.
Because that's the Batman we've really gotten since I would say the Nolan films. It's really dark and gritty, and there's a chance to do something different.
The Danny Elfman
Batman Returns,
Michael Keaton stuff was pretty dark for the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Joker was definitely a pretty menacing twist on that character. And
you talk about as a kid having shows and movies that will not affect you. The ending of the first Batman film, where the Joker dies, but he has a laugh box, so he's still laughing. Yeah. That bothered me as a kid. Yeah. It's a great scene.
That's the kind of movie that takes you, that middle schooler, into high school age and beyond movies, but you still got to do something for the kids that are six to 10 and buying toys or want toys.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna go buy them some $45 collectible that your dad's like, don't touch that. That costs $45. I'm like, no, I want a little like $10 toy that I can take outside and I can throw it at trees. And
this is a complete aside, but going off what you were saying, I saw that there's this company called Toy Joy, and they made this character of Slash. It's a Ninja Turtle character.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite characters, and I was like, oh, I definitely want that. Look at the price; it was like $70. I'm like, no. And it's a toy fight. It's a toy and it's articulated. It's an action figure. It's not a statue or something.
Do you know the old Mask stuff? The
Like,
little car. There's like a little secret anti-terrorist organization, and they had like a car that turned into a plane, and
it's called The Mask.
it's just called Mask. And all these guys wore these different masks, almost look like deep sea diving helmets, but do Mask
I don't know how to
toy
look that up.
series.
Toy series, okay.
But the first toy I had from it was a little motorcycle that flipped into the.
Oh, M.A.S.K.
What's that stand for? I can't even remember.
Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Yeah.
With a K.
The first little toy I had was that little green helicopter.
Okay.
That it popped up. It was a little motorcycle that had this thing that popped up and turned into a helicopter and had a little machine gun that came up in the headlight. And they were great toys. They weren't scaled to work with anything else, so you couldn't like
Put
get
G.I.
them
Joes in them.
GI Joe or anything like
Mhm.
that. Their little figures were probably like this big, so 2 inches. I just saw like a company that's gonna like recreate bigger versions of those.
Oh,
They're gonna be hundreds of dollars for these things.
yeah.
And it's like
it's
that's fine.
They gear toys nowadays seem to be geared toward millennials who are living in the past.
Make a limited run of the collectible things and make a toy that freaking people can play with. I mean, that's one of the things I talk about, all these expensive figures that I see at Godzilla shows and stuff. The thing that you see everybody walking around with there are the little plastic, probably $15 to $25, just not fancy. What are they? Probably 8-10 inch figures that parents buy for their kids, and their kids are carrying them around because they know they're going to be banging them together. Dinosaurs fighting Godzilla and fighting their He-Man figure and making up stories and actually playing with the toy.
I wanted to show you this. You still see in like Target and whatnot like action figures with that's 6-7-year-olds. That's what it's geared toward.
Yeah.
So they do still try to make toys for children, but I think the market unfortunately is geared toward adults these days because kids are playing Fortnite.
Probably even with that, you have some 40-year-old that's going to go in and buy all 20 of them.
Yeah.
And he's going to hold on to them for 2 years, and he's going to take them to a show or put him in his shop and sell them for 3 times what they were worth.
There's also the fact that the prices of these things are a lot more than they were when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Ninja Turtles were like $3.
Yeah, I had $2.98 for a G.I. Joe figure for years.
This Spider-Man's $25.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I literally went around and would ask people if they had if I went into like somebody's office with my dad or something, and they had like a little, an ashtray that had like a nickel and a dime in it. I'd be like, "Can I have that nickel?" And he's like, "Yeah." And do that, and that's how I'd get those until I had enough. Though I had $3 to go to Hills or Brindle's and buy a G.I. Joe figure.
I'm thinking about like superhero properties for kids versus adults. Like the Penguin is definitely like an adult series.
Yeah.
And you were watching the cartoons. Now I could see the cartoon films. I could see those being geared more toward like 12, 13, 14-year-old.
They're too violent for
a young child.
Yeah. So, and half the time it's one of the female characters taking a top off
right.
from behind, where you see
her back,
side boob,
her back in a little.
And that's not something
not
6-year-olds need to be. They don't need to know that Batman.
So are they really making cartoons like that for children?
I mean, no idea.
I know Star Wars made some Rebels series that was specifically for like 4, 5, 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I wouldn't. If that was made by Disney, I wouldn't. I'd have to watch that whole series before I'd even let a child watch it, because it's hard to tell what they tried to slip into that.
I would be interested, and this is just an assumption of mine that like the DC movies are more towards like teens, and I would assume that the DC shows are probably okay for a younger audience.
Yeah, these animated films
Yeah.
would be exactly the. I mean, I was big into watching the X-Men series that
Mhm.
came out in that time frame. You know,
Have you watched the new one?
I don't have a way to watch it.
Hmm.
I think I watched an episode of it when we were somewhere where somebody was logged into Disney, and I just jumped to an episode and watched it, and it was like it seemed like it was pretty much on par with the old one.
But like the Fandango at home list that I have that has the DC animated universe, it's got like Justice League Unlimited and Justice League and Superman the animated series. That's all from like the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything's being produced today.
Yeah.
I'm not up on my cartoons. Sorry.
That's honestly the
right.
That's honestly the stuff that if I get some grandchildren that I would let them watch. I think post 2010 or so is just where I'm gonna have to preview it before I let anybody
Right.
watch it.
It looks like there are various stages in production of different shows. Mr. Miracle, My Adventures with the Green Lantern, DC Superpowers, and Starfire. So
Yeah.
I'm more right now between Superman, what Batman's doing. I'm more positive about what DC's doing with their animated or theatrical universe than what Marvel's doing, for sure.
That's sort of a strike while the iron is hot kind of thing. You had a movie that's successful by today's standards, I guess. I know there's lots of people that are still probably poo-pooing the Superman movie for whatever reason.
Yeah,
but whatever.
People are tearing it apart and picking at it, and you can do that with any movie if you want. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's like the scene where there's a big monster and he like runs through an office building, and Superman's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Oh, it's good that the monster gave him time to check on people." It's like, come on, come on.
Every kid show you would have had the same.
Yeah,
you would have seen that same scene in an old black and white show where it's
people are critical that this is Superman spoilers, I guess at this point. People are critical that one of the heroes killed a bad guy. You remember? We'll talk about it after, because I don't want to say. But people are critical of that. It's all over social media. But they're going through the Superman film and kind of being nitpicky about it. When I think that type of film that Superman is it's kind of beyond that. Like it's not intending to be something that's really like internally consistent. I mean, Superman himself is pretty fragile in this thing.
Yeah.
So
I told you that was my biggest flaw with it, was just that he was getting his butt kicked too much.
Yeah.
But the all over social media criticism, that's my favorite part. Maybe of the more I think about the Superman movie, is that they just showed that social media was just a bunch of monkeys.
Yeah.
Typing hate on the line.
Right.
The more I kind of think about that, and the more you get online and like look, it's like I think that might have been pretty accurate. It's just you got a bunch of people in other countries that are just sitting in rooms. Probably some of them go to sites to complain just to get people arguing over Superman movies, and they go to this one to get you arguing over the price of eggs. And
well, they're going to be losing their jobs pretty soon to literal bots. So
not gonna hurt my feelings.
Nah.
The whole online thing just blows up tomorrow. I'll just have a little bit more free time during my day that I shouldn't waste on a little bit of time that I do waste on it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That's why I took it off my phone. I'm like, I don't need that following me around.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we're going to talk about for this episode.
Yeah, that's our appetizers.
Yeah.
We got slated to come back and jump into Event Horizon.
That's going to be our main course. Is going to be Event Horizon.
That's a pleasant place to jump into.
Yeah. That's oof.
One of those things, you watch that movie and it's dark, and kind of one of the earliest things I can remember being like, wow, that was out there. And then you go back into learning more about it, and you're like, they wanted it to be a whole lot darker.
Yeah, we'll discuss all that.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that when we talk about it. It's a movie I've grown to. Weird way to say this, but I've grown to love. I didn't when I first saw it in the theater. I came out of it thinking like, what did I just watch? You know, I was like low key traumatized by the film because I was expecting something a lot more like Aliens, you know,
Yeah.
something lighthearted, maybe like slightly horror leaning sci-fi.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. This has been fun, Joel.
Yes.
And we'll see you next episode.
We'll see you.
Bye.